Nice to meet you.
The most popular.
Justin.
Yes, finally, I'm glad to meet you too.
Excellent. Thank you, Justin.
You're welcome. You're the one of the
from Nigerian Commission.
Nice to meet you.
and the member of team of ECA and the ECCA member.
ECCA.
Yeah.
No, no, c'est pas ton appelé pour ECCA. My name is Africa.
No, I don't.
No, no, it's okay. C'est bon.
Okay.
I'm part of the team.
Hi,
Hello,
I'm Brian List.
Okay, I'm Justin Undo,
Nice to meet you.
the chairman of G7.
Justine Calvin
Yeah.
Shepherd, I'm the CEO.
I'm
Okay.
Brian
Oh,
Lewis.
yeah, yeah. Nice to meet
Very
you.
nice to meet you.
Vice President.
Ambassador of Gabon.
Ambassador of Gabon, yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Hello,
Hi.
Calvin Shepherd, I'm
Brian.
CEO.
My name is Africa. I'm part of the
Come on
We
team.
have the Nigeria High Commission
Pleasure meeting you.
Nice to meet you, Calvin Shepherd.
and the Minister of Trade.
I
Calvin
believe I
Shepherd.
heard you speak in Toronto.
Go ahead.
Last year, 18 months ago.
Hello, Calvin Shepherd.
That's my name, and I'm a part of the team.
September, okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Calvin
Now, I
Shepherd.
Manitoba Hydro, and it's a real pleasure to have you. And I don't know that I've ever seen this many high commissioners and ambassadors in one room, so that's a pretty amazing feat. So we just have a short agenda. Our president, Calvin Shepherd, needs to leave at 2:30 to meet with our minister, so his boss at the government here in Manitoba. So he's going to make some opening remarks, and then I thought we'll just, if it's okay with everyone, we'll just go around the table and you can talk a little bit about where you're from and what your sort of purposes is with the visit. And then at the end we can talk a little bit about Manitoba Hydro International, which is the international arm of Manitoba Hydro that works around the world and interfaces with all of your countries. So.
There's 3 or 4 that English might not be their strong suit, but we'll try
Well,
to make something.
Julie can translate
Okay.
from
Okay.
Manitoba Hydro International.
Great. Yeah.
So, would you like translation?
We have only the ambassador of Burkina Faso. I don't know if we can understand. That depend of. Yeah, I think that tradition is very necessary because we are getting French and English among ambassadors. We prefer a translation.
So, Julie, 2 sentences at a time. Can you do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
Okay.
Kevin, before we start, I just want to say that there's been a long tradition between the bilingual municipalities and Mr. Shepherd. He's been a strong leader and a strong advocate when he was working at MTS and helping some of our rural municipalities. So he's always been known as a champion within the francophone community. Alors, j'ai dit que M. Shepherd a été un acteur de premier plan pour les municipalités bilingues du Manitoba lorsqu'il était à MTS. Et puis il nous a beaucoup aidé avec une petite communauté rurale. Alors, I think that's a payback.
Well, thank you very much. I'm going to try to speak 2 sentences at a time to translate.
Ok, donc merci beaucoup. Il va essayer de parler environ 2 phrases pour permettre la traduction.
First, let me welcome you to Manitoba, to Winnipeg, and to Manitoba Hydro. One of the things that is very important for our corporation is our relationship with Indigenous peoples. And so we always start our meetings by acknowledging that we're on the land, the territory of our Indigenous peoples. And the lands here today are of our Treaty 1, First Nations, and it's the homeland of the Métis Nation.
Donc, premièrement, vous êtes les bienvenus au Manitoba, au Winnipeg et chez Manitoba Hydro. Une des choses qu'on fait comme tradition, c'est qu'on aime prendre le temps pour reconnaître le fait qu'on a une bonne relation avec les Premières Nations, les d'ici. Donc, c'est juste pour dire merci qu'on est sur leur terre et tout ça.
So Manitoba Hydro is a Crown corporation. That means we're owned by the government of Manitoba. We're an integrated electricity and natural gas utility and have a monopoly position here in Manitoba.
Donc, Manitoba Hydro, c'est une société d'État qui appartient au gouvernement du Manitoba. C'est une société qui fait tout niveau de l'électricité, donc la production, le transport et la distribution de l'électricité.
We're a big electricity supplier, not only here in Manitoba, but about 25% of our electricity is exported to neighboring jurisdictions. A large part of it goes to the United States. And about 99% of our energy, electricity, is renewable, mostly from 15 hydroelectric stations in the province.
Donc, Manitoba Hydro, c'est un grand fournisseur d'électricité. Pour les exportations, c'est environ 25%. 99% de la production de notre électricité, c'est des énergies renouvelables. Voilà.
I could go on and talk about Manitoba Hydro for some time, but I thought I would focus more on our international subsidiary, Manitoba Hydro International, which I know you're going to hear more about. But Manitoba Hydro International is a wholly owned subsidiary of Manitoba Hydro.
Donc, Monsieur le Président vient de dire qu'il pourrait parler très longuement sur Manitoba Hydro, mais qu'il va parler un peu de Manitoba Hydro International. Donc, MHI, c'est une société d'État à part entière de Manitoba Hydro de l'État.
Manitoba Hydro International takes our expertise, our hydro expertise, to projects around the world. And right now we have about 120 projects underway in 33 different countries around the world through Manitoba Hydro International.
Donc, le mandat de Manitoba Hydro International, c'est d'apporter l'expertise de Manitoba Hydro à l'échelle globale, donc à travers du monde. Donc, actuellement, on exécute des projets dans environ 120, on a environ 120 projets à travers de 33 pays.
Manitoba Hydro International has been doing projects in probably close to 200 countries for about 30 years. And we've worked in various African countries and done various types of consulting and other projects, primarily around electricity, but also some natural gas projects in other parts of the world.
Donc, Manitoba Hydro International a de l'expérience dans environ 200 pays et à travers pour environ 30 années. On a beaucoup d'expérience dans le marché africain, principalement sur le niveau de l'électricité, mais on a aussi des projets au niveau du gaz naturel.
So some of the countries in Africa that Manitoba Hydro International has worked in, we've done a number of projects in Nigeria. We're working in the Democratic Republic of Congo. We've worked in Zambia and Liberia, as well as the Congo. And we continue to work in countries around the world, primarily bringing our expertise, our management expertise and capabilities to work with local utilities in hydro and other electricity developments.
Donc, Manitoba Hydro a de l'expérience au Nigeria, en RDC, République démocratique du Congo, en Zambie et au Libéria. La plupart de nos services, c'est vraiment au niveau des services de gestion. Mais c'est vraiment des entreprises d'électricité.
I thought I'd just conclude with a few final remarks about Manitoba Hydro. We're a very large employer here in Manitoba. Currently about 5,300 direct staff, but we have big construction projects and other work that we contract out, so our impact on the province is very large economically in terms of employment and construction and other activities.
Donc, Manitoba Hydro est un grand employeur pour la province. Nous avons des gros projets de construction qui ont des impacts assez importants au niveau de l'économie du Manitoba.
You know, we're very proud of our people. We have very skilled, very professional people, a very diverse workforce with many different groups involved in it. And we'd be happy to talk to you today about anything that you would like to talk about.
Nous sommes très fiers de notre équipe. Nous avons des experts dans plusieurs différents domaines et ça serait un plaisir de discuter avec vous comment on fait l'assistance.
So I'm very happy to be here to meet with you. I hope that you have a good visit to Winnipeg, that you make new friends. I'm sure today we will have a good conversation, a good exchange of information. I apologize once again that I must leave earlier, but I'm sure, as many of you know, when the minister calls, you're obligated to respond. And so I will stay for a few more minutes, and I really wish you a very good meeting. And thank you once again for taking the time to come and visit us here at Manitoba Hydro.
Donc, il est très heureux que vous êtes venus ici pour nous rencontrer. Il donne ses excuses qu'il doit quitter de bonne heure, mais quand le ministre nous demande du temps, il faut obliger. Donc, merci encore. J'espère que vous avez des bonnes rencontres au Manitoba et que vous vous amusez à Winnipeg. Et encore, il s'excuse de devoir quitter le bonheur.
Merci. Are we have a special program or order that we want to go through in terms of who would like to start off in terms of our guests?
Okay, I'm the one to respond. I would like, because I know that the CEO must leave in a few minutes, just aware that before you leave, if you can take a few minutes before we leave to take the picture with the ambassadors, and then we'll continue. I don't know if, according to the program, are we going to have a tour somewhere, or all the program will be only here only?
Just in here for sharing information.
Here, okay,
Yes.
That's great, because it's very important to know that.
So let's break and then we'll take the picture.
Yeah,
Okay?
yes, I think so. On va prendre un break pour que vous fassiez la photo, parce que, yeah. Okay. Okay, you suggest that before we go to the pictures, because then the High Commissioner maybe will move if you want to say something before the CEO move to Nigeria. I don't know.
Basically, just to say we're really very delighted to be here today. We're glad this opportunity came along for us to visit this organization. Our primary mandate or reason for being here is to try and bring about more depth the relationship between African businesses and province of Manitoba, a wonderfully very exciting province in many respects. For us, it was very important to be able to come here today because we happen to know that Manitoba Hydro International has had a presence in Nigeria for some time and has been involved in a number of things in the energy space, in the power space, in a very, very significant way. So it meant a lot for us to be able to come here today, to get to see where this place actually is, to meet the people, to get a feel for the environment, and basically just to pay our respects, and to also express the hope that this will mark the prospect of even more engagement for other Manitoba companies that might want to come to Nigeria. So we're here basically to say hello, to pay our respects, to get to meet you, and to let you know that we're really keen to do much more with this organization and with the province of Manitoba in general terms. So we're glad to be here. Thank you.
D'accord. Alors, moi je vais... Oui, je parle anglais, mais je vais parler français.
Yeah.
D'accord, donc c'est aussi à mon tour de saluer la rencontre de ce soir. Parce que pour ceux qui connaissent bien le Burkina Faso, c'est un pays qui est véritablement stratégique, mais en même temps qui présente des insuffisances quand on parle de la question de l'énergie. C'est pas mieux que...
So he's now taking his turn to salute this meeting and to bring attention to Burkina, which is a very strategic country but also has certain areas for improvement on the energy sector.
Voilà, parce que quand vous prenez le Burkina Faso, il est au cœur de l'Afrique de l'Ouest. Donc, il y a jusqu'à 6 pays frontaliers. Donc, c'est un pays sans littoral. Ça veut dire qu'on n'a pas de frontière avec la mer.
So Burkina Faso is the heart of West Africa with 6 countries bordering, so no oceans or water around it.
Donc, du même coup, la question de l'énergie est très coûteuse pour l'industrie burkinabé. On ne peut pas se développer lorsque on se retrouve être face à la question de l'énergie. Du reste, nous avons l'énergie la plus coûteuse de l'Afrique de l'Ouest.
Donc au Burkina, so for Burkina Faso, energy is very, very important because currently they have one of the most expensive energy.
Le taux de couverture est de 33%. Alors il me semble que vous avez et le taux d'électrification est à 19%.
So they have about 33% areas that have access to energy and only 19% are actually being served energy.
Donc vous voyez déjà pourquoi nous sommes très contents d'être avec hydroénergie en ce qui concerne le niveau de Manitoba parce que pour nous c'est une opportunité étant donné que nous faisons face à ces contraintes-là. Mais ce qui est vraiment prioritaire pour nous, en même temps, c'est que nous sommes un pays qui avons l'électricité et le soleil à revendre. Donc, ça veut dire que ce qui nous intéresse, c'est surtout l'énergie solaire.
So this is one of the reasons why they're so happy to be meeting with us because of the constraints that they currently have in the energy sector. One of the areas that's really important for them is developing solar energy.
Donc, quelle que soit la nature du partenariat que nous devons avoir avec votre entreprise, que ce soit des micro-projets, que ce soit dans le cadre même de l'installation de plaques solaires ou encore même de fabrication de plaques solaires, l'essentiel pour nous c'est d'utiliser véritablement cette potentialité-là pour pouvoir en tout cas maîtriser la question de l'énergie.
So for them, regardless of the nature of the partnership, it's very important for them to look at different areas where we can be of assistance to put in place the infrastructure or the mechanisms to provide solar energy.
Donc, vraiment, on est là en prospection, mais bon, déjà, vous dire qu'on est véritablement intéressé par un futur partenariat, parce que même quand vous prenez un peu les facilitations que l'État burkinabé a eu à mettre en place, il y a un élément que je vais vous citer en exemple, il y a ce qu'on appelle le PPP. Le PPP, c'est le partenariat privé-public, ce qui veut dire qu'il y a une facilitation de travail directement avec le gouvernement. Même le privé peut s'engager ou le gouvernement peut s'engager au bénéfice de tout le monde dans tous les cas. Et chacun va y gagner dans ce partenariat privé-public qu'on appelle PPP.
So they're very interested and excited for the future and developing potential partnerships related to PPPs where you can work with the public and private and everyone benefits at the end.
Alors, je pense quand même que comme c'est juste pour dire bonsoir, je vais laisser passer
Excellence, c'est vrai qu'on est un peu...
Bien, merci. À la suite de ce que mes collègues ont eu à dire, je souhaiterais également vous remercier de nous recevoir ici cet après-midi. Je viens dans le cadre de cette mission ici au niveau de Hydro Manitoba avec des projets spécifiques.
So again, we'd like to thank you to come and meet with them today. He's coming to us with specific hydro projects.
Le Gabon est situé en Afrique centrale, pas très loin de la RDC que vous connaissez déjà. Donc nous avons presque le même climat et la même hydrographie.
So Gabon is situated in Central Africa, right beside DRC, which is a country that we know very well. It has a very similar climate and also potential.
Avec la chance, contrairement au Burkina Faso, d'avoir 800 km de côte sur l'Atlantique.
With 800 kilometers on the Atlantic.
Mais le plus important pour nous ici, c'est que nous avons, pendant un certain nombre d'années, mis l'exploitation de l'électricité et de l'eau du Gabon à une société étrangère que je ne citerai pas ici. Et après près de 20 à 40 ans, 30 à 40 ans, nous nous sommes rendus compte que jusqu'à présent, les besoins en électricité et en eau de la population gabonaise ne sont pas satisfaits.
So currently in the energy sector for Gabon, it's operated by a private company, so the water and the energy sector. And after about 30, 40 years of this private operator, they're realizing that their needs still aren't met.
Et juste pour la petite histoire, c'est un petit groupe de Canadiens que j'ai amené au Gabon il y a à peine 2 mois, qui ont pu faire constater à notre société d'énergie et d'eau que nous perdions, ça c'est un exemple, par exemple, nous perdions 40% de l'eau que nous produisions rien que par des fuites.
So he's just providing a small story. So just recently, about 2 months ago, they had 2 Canadians go into Gabon. And the Canadians are actually the ones that noted that they're losing about 40% of their water through like leaks or yeah.
Et donc, par le fait, la chance d'être au Canada et de connaître un peu la notoriété du Canada dans ce domaine, nous souhaitons proposer un certain nombre de projets pour voir si votre entreprise pourrait venir essayer non seulement de conseiller, mais également de voir si elle peut s'insérer dans la mise en œuvre de ces différents projets.
So they're looking to use Canadian expertise again with those specific projects just to see how we might be able to be of assistance.
Voilà, et donc pour ne pas aller en détail dans tous ces projets, qu'on trouvera peut-être l'occasion d'en parler, c'est simplement pour dire que c'est pour refaire totalement notre plan énergétique national.
So without going into too much detail, it's essentially to go over an entire master plan for their energy sector.
Voilà notre introduction directe et nous sommes encore très heureux d'être avec vous aujourd'hui.
And thank you and they're very happy to be with us today.
Okay, thank you, Excellencies. And I think that it's time for him and we want to move. I think that for Somali, we will stay and she will give you the details for our discussion because you just continue for discussion. See if you can take pictures and to leave him to go. Thank you so much.
Where would you?
At this wall.
Yeah.
This wall here?
Yes.
Oh.
Or how about what you want out there in the hallway against the less light?
No, here it's good. It's no
Here's
problem.
it? Okay.
The wood will affect better,
Okay.
not like that. But
Bon, Excellencies d'abord.
hein?
Une délégation à la fois.
Ok. Une délégation à la fois. One delegation,
Tiens.
Une délégation à la fois. Le Gabon qui commence. Excellent.
C'est une délégation à la fois. Ok.
Oui.
Donc, monsieur Lhomme, venez alors.
Voilà.
Start with one delegation first.
One delegation first. And then we take all delegations. Just at the blue one, yeah.
Okay, are you ready?
Oh yeah, la ceinture, la ceinture.
C'est bon. Ok, ça aussi, il faut en faire.
Ah oui, the garbage. The garbage.
Oh, there you go.
D'accord. Moi, moi déjà. C'est bon pour moi.
Moi, je ne viens pas pour être neutre à la fin. Ok.
C'est fini?
Ok.
Yes. Après
Après ça, on peut mettre en-
Demandez ça. Encore une fois, installez la caméra. Ok. Alors, en position.
Donc, Nigeria.
Attends.
One more.
D'accord.
C'est bon?
Yeah, Nigeria.
Thank you. Very nice to meet you.
Allez, Kano.
Oh, there we go. We'll put you. Oh, a little bit over.
Okay. Good.
Very good.
That's good.
Yeah. Oh, the one miss.
Okay.
Oh. I think that, sorry, is that the camera? Yes. Sorry, there is camera. I want to see which one is it.
Alors,
Oh, okay.
It's good?
No, all the directions.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, myself. I forgot for myself.
excellent.
Yeah, excellent.
We'll just kind of stagger in a little bit here.
Lui, venez ici.
À côté du Gabon.
Ouais,
Non,
pas de
à
souci.
côté du Gabon.
Attends, où est-ce que je dois aller?
Philippe, prends mon appareil qui est sur
Est-ce que c'est vraiment? Je suis en train de d'enregistrer. À qui le photo? Mettez le photo. Vous êtes en train d'enregistrer.
Oui, ça c'est le mien.
Alors, je vais recommencer encore. Passe-moi. Passe-moi votre appareil, s'il vous plaît. D'accord. C'est bon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very good visit. Thank you. We have a good discussion. Yes.
I think I give you mine.
It might have, but here. Oops. Did I give you his?
Did I give you mine? I don't know why.
Thank you very much. Very good.
Okay, thank you.
Good meeting.
Yeah.
Good luck.
So, I'll just wait for Julie. And she just is saying goodbye.
We can translate for you.
Okay.
And then explain.
Julie, if I can see my translator. Okay. We're just getting Wi-Fi. So for you. So 1 minute.
Après qu'on a fini le partage, s'il y en a qui veulent c'est
Oui.
Okay, 15 heures.
Oui, parce que
What I may suggest is that we'll have we'll continue with the full discussion, and then if like at 3 o'clock we must leave, We'll keep 10 minutes at the end. If each country would like a private meeting with you,
Excellent.
we'll lead them with you. So that way
Perfect.
it'll be easier. So let's take 15 minutes just to
Yeah,
keep up.
exactly.
Would that be okay with you
Like you
guys?
mentioned, it'd be nice for international to, you know,
Okay, let's start with
explain
that.
a little bit what they
Okay,
do abroad.
let's do that.
Okay. Wes Mueller is the managing director of one of our international utility services group at Manitoba Hydro International. And he is just in the process of getting his, it's supposed to be.
Excuse me.
That'd be great.
While they're getting ready, this building is, in terms of the LEED program, one of the most energy efficient buildings, high-rise in the world. That's just a fact about Manitoba Hydro. You still own the title of the most efficient energy.
Well, you know what, I'm going to let our boss, Brian Luce, answer that question because he's responsible, one of the areas he's responsible for looks after all the buildings that Hydro owns. So,
Okay.
Brian, are we still the head?
As far as I
On
understand,
lead?
yes, we are, yes.
Yeah, good. Okay,
We have,
keep up the good work.
Lots of companies coming from around the world to look at our building.
Okay.
Apple, Google, companies from all over Europe, all coming in just to look at our building. How we've designed it to be so energy efficient. So we have about 2,500 employees in this building. So a good number of our staff, half our staff reside in this building. So it's a large building that occupies a lot of people. So it's a great building.
All right.
Okay, Wesley, are we ready?
I'm all set.
Excellent. Julie, we're ready to go? Okay.
Translate?
Yeah. And if I make any mistakes and there's anyone else that's bilingual, feel free to correct me. I won't get offended.
Okay, 5 minutes of MHI, Manitoba Hydro International, or MHE, as in French.
Donc 5 minutes pour faire l'introduction de Manitoba Hydro International ou en sigle MHI.
So, just a little bit of quick history. In 1985, Manitoba Hydro recognized that there was opportunities to make use of some of its, I'm going to say, underutilized resources within the company, and so started a group called the Export Services Department.
Donc un peu d'historique concernant Manitoba Hydro International. En 1985, il avait noté qu'il y avait l'occasion d'utiliser certains personnels un peu plus. Donc, c'est là qu'on a commencé Export Services. C'était un département.
So as the organization grew and as more opportunities were being discovered and opportunities for our staff to be involved in projects and in work around the world, much of it through the Canadian government at certain points in time, eventually in 1997, an actual subsidiary called Manitoba Hydro International was created.
Donc, à fur et à mesure que MHI a travaillé un peu plus à l'échelle internationale, à travers du financement du gouvernement canadien, ils ont créé une filiale Manitoba Hydro International.
So as we've already said, and some of these numbers are unfortunately a little bit out of date, we need to update it, working in over 110 countries. We have around 185 employees that are part of Manitoba Hydro International, our staff here in Winnipeg, and then staff that are deployed in other parts of the world. We operate in 13 different languages in the countries we work in, and we've had over 2,000 different clients.
Donc, les chiffres ils ont besoin d'être mis à jour un peu, mais on a de l'expérience de projet dans au-delà de 110 pays. On a environ 185 employés et ça c'est à notre siège, mais aussi à l'échelle internationale sur nos différents projets. On a environ 2000 clients et dans notre équipe, on parle 13 langues.
So these are employees of MHI specifically and directly. We then also work with the rest of the Manitoba Hydro employees as a resource and work together to help support and bring the expertise to our projects.
Donc, le chiffre 185 pour nos employés, c'est les employés vraiment au siège, mais on est aussi appuyé par tous les employés de Manitoba Hydro, donc de la société d'État.
So just a quick map of the world to show the various countries that we've worked in with different parts of our organization.
Donc, c'est juste une map des pays où on a déjà travaillé à travers de notre filiale.
And now I'm just going to very quickly go over some of the very high level, sort of the key services that we offer as an organization.
Et maintenant, on va juste passer en revue nos services principaux.
So one of the things that we're very much involved in is what we would call consulting and advisory services. These would involve everything from working with utility management or offering support services to the management of utilities, power utilities. And then we bring along business and technical expertise in all the various areas because we're an organization here in Manitoba that has generation, transmission, distribution, and customer service still all under one umbrella. We can offer the support in all those various areas, all the way down to customer service and the energy market operations.
Donc, un de nos domaines de service, c'est les services de conseil. Notre spécialité, c'est vraiment à tout niveau d'une entreprise, donc dans la production, le transport et la distribution et aussi service à la clientèle. Donc, étant donné que nous sommes une filiale à part entière de Manitoba Hydro, c'est des services qu'on peut offrir.
Some of the other pieces that we get involved in some of the technical areas, we've generated and developed our own internal software that we sell around the world, a software called PSCAD. It offers the opportunity to do simulations on your transmission system network.
Donc, un des services qu'on a développé à notre siège, c'est un logiciel qui fait des simulations pour votre réseau de transport, et c'est PSCAD.
Some other products we've developed are what we call an HVDC line fault location system, which allows us to identify where a fault has occurred within our transmission system under an HVDC operation.
Une autre technologie qu'on a développée, c'est HVDC Line Fault Location. Donc, c'est pour identifier les points sur le réseau où il peut y avoir des petites pannes ou ça peut créer des pannes.
Good test for it today. We do lots of, with that then we'll actually do training for the software, where we sell the software, we also provide the training services that go with them to do the power systems, the training tied to the PSCAD and provide the technical support that goes with that.
Donc, au-delà des logiciels que nous offrons, on offre aussi la formation et l'appui technique pour les logiciels.
Manitoba generally has a long history in HVDC, and so we have a lot of companies, we have capacity within our organization, but also here in Manitoba that have lots of history and experience with HVDC. And so we do lots of consulting work on projects around the world where high voltage DC is now actually being used to a greater and greater extent to move large blocks of power over large geographic areas.
Donc, Manitoba, une de nos spécialités, c'est vraiment l'opération, l'exploitation du réseau HVDC. Donc, c'est quelque chose qu'on peut offrir à nos clients.
This picture, just for interest's sake, shows our original HVDC lines that were built in 1969, 1970, 1972, and now we're just finishing the building of a third one.
Donc, l'image, c'est une image d'un système qu'on avait en place précédemment pour
HVDC.
Yes.
One of the other things we've done a lot of work in recently is integration of renewables into the grid. This is one of the areas where we feel there's going to be a lot of demand in the near future as people try to bring solar and wind that are located in various regions and try to integrate them into an existing grid. And there are some technical issues associated with that if it's done incorrectly, can actually create problems within the network.
Donc, un des services qu'on offre beaucoup, maintenant qu'on voit vraiment l'importance pour les énergies renouvelables, c'est de faire des études sur l'intégration des énergies renouvelables dans le réseau.
So as things like micro hydro, solar, and wind become more and more prominent, the demand for this type of expertise will obviously grow.
Donc, comme on voit un peu plus de demandes pour la transition à l'énergie solaire, éolienne, ça devient de plus en plus important d'avoir des études en place pour assurer que ça peut être vraiment intégré dans le réseau.
Okay. The other thing we've had a long history in, probably for the last 15 to 20 years, we've been using something called LiDAR to do what we call thermal rating studies. If you've got an existing network that was built and designed in the 1970s, 80s, and years past, it may be possible to actually extract more energy and to conduct more power through an existing infrastructure without doing a lot of additional work. And we've been doing these type of studies since about 1999 for utilities in Canada, United States, and around the world actually as well.
Donc, nous avons aussi la technologie LiDAR et c'est une analyse thermique pour déterminer les points où on peut maximiser l'efficacité du réseau de transport. Donc, c'est une étude qu'on utilise LiDAR avec.
Some of the other services then, other items we're involved with, the design and installation of high voltage pad mount transformers. On a high level, it basically gives you the opportunity to take a substation that looks like this and then replace it instead with something that's much smaller and much cleaner and takes up much less space.
Un autre service, c'est la conception et l'installation d'un high voltage pad mount transformer pour des entreprises. Et en sommaire, qu'est-ce que ça fait? C'est ça prend la première photo et ça la transforme dans la deuxième photo, qui est une infrastructure qui est beaucoup plus propre, beaucoup plus petite.
So we've been using these more and more in Manitoba, and we're just starting to offer them out as a service and a product to parts of Canada, United States, Central South America, and anywhere else that people have interest. The big advantage to them is with space and the footprint they take up. It's a much smaller space that they will take up with this scenario than with the substation.
Donc, on voit une transition même au Manitoba pour l'utilisation de plus en plus des high voltage pad mount transformers. Et un des plus gros avantages, c'est le montant d'espace demandé pour cette technologie.
Things such as theft and other issues that are associated with this type of facility start to disappear with this because they're not as visible.
Donc, les problèmes comme le vol commencent à diminuer de plus en plus qu'on installe les high voltage pad mount transformers parce que c'est beaucoup moins visible.
Oh, sorry, I almost forgot about the bottom one. We also have a service within our organization that works with fiber optic cables and maximizing the use of the cable. Many utilities now are installing fiber optic cables as part of communication systems, and sometimes you have surplus capacity there. And so what we do here in Manitoba is we market that now out as another service offering to clients around the world, or clients in the province, whether it's for internet or other services.
Donc, un autre service, c'est au niveau de la télécommunication. Donc, c'est de faire l'analyse des réseaux fibres optiques pour maximiser la capacité. Donc, si on n'utilise pas toute la capacité du réseau, c'est de trouver une façon de maximiser et partager avec des compagnies.
And the last part, this is a big part of what's been part of our history and what we see ourselves doing going forward. We do a large amount of knowledge transfer and training wherever we are, and so it covers the entire range of aspects of the utility operations from doing the work in the generation, transmission, distribution areas and commercial, but we also help out with technical trades. We do a lot of lineman training and the skill sets that go along with doing energized work on transmission lines so that you don't have to take the line out of service in order to do the work. And then the engineering, any type of human resource or corporate governance, finance, all areas that we've been in the past been participating in with utilities in Africa especially as well. So we've been heavily involved in those areas.
Donc, un volet qui est très important pour nous, c'est d'intégrer un volet de renforcement de capacité, de transfert des connaissances. Donc, c'est un service qu'on peut offrir dans tous les domaines d'une entreprise d'électricité ou bien d'énergie, je devrais dire. Et par exemple, au niveau des techniciens, l'ingénierie, la gouvernance, finance, production, transport, distribution, les services à la clientèle, c'est vraiment dans tous les domaines. Et c'est quelque chose qu'on essaie d'intégrer dans tous nos projets.
So I just had a high-level presentation, and this takes me to the last slide. But if there's questions, we can either go over questions now or we can have whatever is the next stage we want to take on the agenda.
Donc, c'est vraiment un aperçu de l'entreprise. Maintenant, on peut soit, si vous avez des questions, vous pouvez les poser ou on peut aller au prochain point sur l'agenda.
C'est la partie pour les questions.
Oui, mais finalement, ma préoccupation, est-ce que les services qui sont donnés ici, j'ai compris qu'il y a une véritable maîtrise de la technologie en matière d'énergie ou autre. Est-ce qu'il y a un point qui est fait vers l'énergie solaire?
So he's just asking about our expertise on the solar energy side.
Solar energy is not very much in demand here in Manitoba, and so our background and expertise in it is very limited. It is not something that's a really big, strong piece for us.
However, our expertise related to renewables is in the area of PSCAD, where
Right.
we assist utilities in evaluating what the impact of adding renewables to their grid will be. So when you add a renewable into a grid that's base loaded with a solid level of generation, and you add renewables in that just pulse in, Julie, you know all this, so you can just tell the story when I'm done, right? You don't need me to stop.
Yeah, no, go for it.
So that it pulses in. So you have to do a study, a PSCAD study, to evaluate what are the impacts on your system by adding these renewables to your grid. And we do a lot. We sell the product and we do the studies.
Donc, qu'est-ce qu'on peut faire au niveau de l'énergie solaire? C'est une étude avec la technologie ou bien le logiciel PSCAD. Et c'est important parce que pour intégrer les renouvelables dans le réseau, il faut avoir une étude pour voir comment ça peut vraiment s'intégrer et pour assurer qu'il n'y a pas de problème avec les différents points où il y a des ajouts de l'énergie. Alors, c'est certainement un service qu'on peut offrir au niveau du secteur d'énergie solaire.
Les stations hybrides et tout ça.
Okay, does anybody else have any questions or comments or want to make any remarks?
No, if Excellency has something to say, I just want to, as they are thinking, just to inform you that I know that the meeting is short because of your time, also for our time, but I will email, I will be in touch with you from next week when they will go. We will plan to, we will discuss how to make this program in effect. So
Excellent.
maybe we discussed already because we have 4 countries represented here. That means is Nigeria, Gabon, Burkina Faso, and Mali. They are somewhere. There are 4 countries. So from next week, we will propose you some schedule how to be in touch with them for each of them. ECCA, that I'm representing, will be coordinated for what we can do in the couple of months from now.
Excellent.
Yeah. And I don't know if you want to say something.
Yeah, we still have 10 minutes, and if any of the 3 countries that are present would like some private time with Manitoba Hydro International,
Yeah.
like that would be probably the best utilization of what's left. Would you be okay with that?
I have no problem. That's fine.
You're fine?
That's fine.
Est-ce que vous voulez du temps en privé?
Oui.
Vous voulez avoir du temps en privé? Et vous?
Mais
Ok.
il faut savoir que...
Non, on peut attendre dans le lobby.
Oui. C'est que on va vous laisser un peu, mais sachez que le...
Dans 10 minutes, on va écouter le festival. We'll leave you for 10 minutes, so if they want to...
Thank you.
If they want to discuss you in private and then...
We don't need to be... L'optique à Saint-Léon, il m'avait aidé, c'est d'une aide super précieuse. On avait réussi à sauver la coopérative régionale. Parce que Suzanne Faux, she said, doing business, that's good.
No, she's been great to work with, actually.
Yeah, well, she said the same thing, so it's a mutual
Excellent.
thing.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
C'est bon, Kendall.